Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, I've been running the Mini Countryman JCW behind me as my long-termer from Mini UK for the past 6 months. It goes back in just a couple of weeks, but there's time for one last road trip, and it's a big one. So, long-term subscribers to the channel will know I love my Minis. I have a little Mini Roadster parked in the garage. But when I went to the press drives of the Countryman earlier this year, the biggest comment I got was the fact that this isn't really that Mini anymore. It's a big old car, but I have found the last 6 months fascinating. I have done one mid-term update, as it were, but Tracy and I are off on the final rally of the year. We've got to go to the Cotswolds, Stratford-on-Avon, Cornwall and back home. The car is full to the gunnels. We're taking both dogs with us, and I thought it'd be a really nice backdrop to give you our thoughts on this car. Has it lived up to expectations? Sometimes when you go on these press launches and you get just a few hours with a car, it's very difficult to get your head around the car completely, but I'm pretty sure I have got my head around this car. And yeah, it's impressed me. So of course, these two little Herberts will be coming along for the ride. Are you coming? She's shaking because she knows that the car's packed full of stuff. Darcy has had a big operation just last week, but thankfully, having had a little bit of a hiccup, she's now ready for the journey. She's lost a bit of weight. She's looking quite trim. You can stop shaking. But this is the plus side of the Countryman. It is cavernous. There's still a little bit of space left there for stuff, but we've got presents, we've got wine, we've got clothes, we've got all kinds of things, and then the girls are going to be sat in the back of the car. And we just double bubble the lock. There we go. So yes, the girls are going to be sat in the back just there. Look, she's very excited. You going to get in? She's like, oh, I need to get in. So yes, they'll be there strapped in. So yes, the next thing I think we're going to do is get on our way. I'm just waiting for Mrs. Greaves to get back from collecting a couple of things from the shops, and then we're on our way. Let the Christmas rally commence. We're on our way. Road trip started.
Yeah, we are not very far away.
I know, but I thought we're not going to do the whole opinion on the car thing yet. We'll save that to a bit later on in the video, but we did want to just show you this because it's just the cutest thing ever. The girls fast asleep on the back seat in their harnesses in tandem. Are you looking forward to Christmas, Greavesy?
Indeed I am.
So yeah, we are. So our first stop actually is the Fish. So where me and the boys did a podcast not that long ago. So we are staying there because we've got friends that live in the next village. So we've got a few nights in a hotel. Then we're going to go and stay with some other friends in Stratford. And then we go down to Cornwall for 3 nights, stay in another hotel. So we're living out of a suitcase basically for the next week.
We are indeed.
It's Christmas! Anyway, next stop, the Fish. Well, we have arrived at our home for the next 3 nights, the Fish, just near Broadway. I come here so often. It's our favourite hotel. Well, actually, one of our favourite hotels, because we're going to our second favourite hotel in a few days' time. But yes, it's a beautiful view normally. Unfortunately, it's very nearly dark and quite misty, and it's actually raining. But we're going to get our stuff in the room. Then we're going to head to the bar for a drink, and then we're going to go down the hill to our friend's house, where we're having a nice curry this evening. Let the Christmas festivities begin. plans for this video changed a little bit because of the Christmas break. I had planned to film a bit more of the road trip, but we left the fish and drove up to Stratford on Boxing Day, and it wasn't a particularly long journey, and it was Boxing Day, and I just couldn't be bothered to get the cameras rolling. And then the drive down from Stratford to Cornwall was horrific, wasn't it? It was really bad. It was the worst traffic. So normally from Chichester along to Cornwall, because you have to go, there's only 2 or 3 roads you can go west across the south coast of England. It's always a bit sticky, about 4 hours. So we thought coming down from Stratford on the M5 would be really easy.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. It was horrendous. Bristol was terrible. It took us about 6 hours. So there was no way I was going to turn the cameras on because we were both in foul moods. But we are now on our way home after a super relaxing break in our favourite place in Cornwall. We've had such a lovely time, and it's just been really nice to spend time with Tracy and with the dogs and just walking on the cliffs and the beaches, and it's been fantastic. But on the way, that's you. Who's ringing you? I'm doing a bit to camera.
I don't know.
Anyway, we'll red button that. On the way back, I thought we would debrief about this car because we've had it 6 months, and it's quite interesting because the last time we had a long-termer from Mini for 6 months, we ended up buying one because we both fell in love with the car so much. So what I'm going to do in a little while, I have negotiated Tracy's fee. She has agreed to be on camera. That's not really, it's a reluctantly really. But she's a co-tester of this car really, because she's driven it a lot over the last 6 months. And for both of us, I think it's quite an interesting car because we love the Clubman so much. This car's so much bigger, and it's had a lot of grief really from not just people reviewing it, but in the comments I read lots of people don't like the styling, they don't like the size, it's not really a Mini anymore. But the big thing I wanted to find out, living with this car over a prolonged period of time, is that size, that extra size, the extra space in size, a benefit? Is it something that makes the car more usable than a Mini hatch? And they don't do the Clubman anymore. So let's find out what Mrs. Greaves thinks once I've persuaded her to come on camera. So come on then, Greavesy, give us your thoughts.
Well, when it first arrived, it wasn't necessarily the prettiest car. Having had Charlie for so long, it felt like it was just so much bigger. But actually, it's been an absolutely super car to have. There's so much more space inside. I agree, it's probably a maxi, not a Mini. But it still has lots of features and drives very much like a Mini. There's just so much more space in it, and it's been really great to just do short trips around, but on long trips it's super comfortable. It's got lots of power under the bonnet when you need it.
Or for you overtaking things.
Yeah. And you know, for the girls and for trips to the beach, it's been fantastic. So I'm quite sad to see it go.
And you like the four-wheel drive bit?
Yeah, I mean, for me that's really, really important. And the drive position, you feel like you're much higher up so that you've got a view of everything, which is when you're little like me, is actually quite important. So, yeah.
And would it be safe to say that you've actually been on Auto Trader?
Might have been having a little look, yes.
So your spec would be?
Oh, it's got to be John Cooper Works. So
It's got to be a John Cooper Works.
Start there.
Yeah.
Because it just makes it feel like a really nippy little car. So this, everything on this car is just perfectly what you'd buy.
And what do you think about the tech and the screen? How do you find the screen?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's not really that dissimilar to the Clubman. And in a funny kind of way, a kind of massive version of what's in Ruby. So,
touchscreen, not too much of a pain?
No, it's quite simple in comparison to other cars. it's a really quite simple car to navigate.
Speed bong?
Well, nobody likes the speed bomb.
But it is
and
a really
that's
quick...
not unique to this car, is it?
No, but it's really easy to turn it off.
Yeah, but why would one want to turn off the speed bomb?
Oh, of course. Because you never speed, so that's okay.
No, exactly.
So I'm going to ask you now to give it a rating out of 10.
I think it's probably a 9.
Really?
It's a really good car.
Of all the long-termers and press cars that you've been able to drive, how does it rank?
It's difficult because when you've had a car for as long as we've had this,
Yeah.
you kind of get to know it and you get very comfortable with it. So, but it's up there in the top 5.
Oh, okay. This Defender.
Yep.
Could that be the quandary that's going to be talked about quite a lot in our household over the next few weeks?
Could be. Yeah,
Could
we need
be.
to kind of decide what to do.
Okay. So you like it then?
Yes, it's very lovely.
Mini UK, see, you've worked your magic again. You now have got Mrs. Greaves wanting to buy a Mini. Let's have a brief chat about the big round display. It's all touchscreen, and on the whole, I like it. I think the fact that CarPlay is a square rather than round, that's something that would be great if you could get CarPlay to be round, but I'd imagine the development costs of that are huge. It's for me, the temperature controls, because these are touchscreen. You can go down and up using that, and then you've got, in this particular model, you've got heated seats, so you have to push that to turn the heated seats on, heated steering wheel, and it's just a little bit fiddly for me, just a little bit. But that is a minor grumble. You've got some real buttons down here, but I quite like it if the HVAC controls were down here rather than on a touchscreen. So that's what the boss thinks of the car, and I have to say that is high praise indeed. I often ask whether I've got a number from 1 to 10 when I've been doing, particularly good things around the house and stuff, and I never get a 9. And this car's got a 9. I mean, that's outrageous. I'm lucky if I get a 7. But anyway, I may well, if I'm lucky, get a drive before we get home. And when we do, I'll give you my final impressions of this car and my thoughts. But for now, I'm going to sit back and enjoy the calm, serene driving of Mrs. Petrol Ped. Wow. A driver change.
I know, I've now got to tell you're driving.
I haven't actually driven this holiday at all. Tracy likes driving the car so much, I barely get a chance, do I?
I just drive better.
That's harsh, that's harsh. So, speed bong off with a set button, just push and hold that for a few seconds. So, my feelings about this car are mixed. When I first drove the car at the press drives this year, it impressed me straight off the bat. It really does have a lot of Mini driving characteristics that you expect. Even though it's a 4-wheel drive platform, feels quite front wheel drive biased. So on full throttle, it's got a little bit of torque steer in it, it's got a little bit of movement in your hand, and I like that about Mini. That's one of my favourite Mini driving characteristics, and you get that in spades in this car. And although, as we mentioned already, it's a big car, it doesn't, from the outside it's a big car, from the inside it doesn't really feel that big when you're driving it. You can place the car quite well on the roads. As soon as you start to have to manoeuvre it around town or take it into a car park, you're aware of its size. It fills a car park space. They are big cars, but I guess there's no way we could be doing this trip with all the stuff we've got in it. What are you doing? Why are you pulling faces? What, because of the traffic?
Nothing.
In the Clubman, we'd have had to have the roof box on for this trip, whereas we've got one of the seats down, everything's full, the girls are in the back, happy as Larry. So it has been a really interesting 6 months. A car that I think's got under our skin. We both have fallen for it in a big way. I know it gets a lot of stick from the classic Mini fan brigade, and even the smaller Minis. You look at Gen 1 or Gen 2 Minis, they're so much smaller than this. Even the previous Gen Countryman is a much smaller car. But this just feels like a more mature, more grown-up car. The ride's really great. It's a really nice place to be on a long journey. It's got loads of space. Drive mode wise, I'm in core at the moment, and on a dual carriageway kind of driving, that's where I tend to be. The second I go into a B road, I'd stick that straight up into go-kart feel. I do think there are too many experiences, really. I think in a car you really only need 3: eco, normal and sport, or whatever the equivalent of those is, because I don't think you've ever moved them at all, have you?
No.
So, you know, you just tend to stick it in core, and you can tap into all of that performance whenever you want to, really. So yeah, it's been a good experiment. What are you smiling at?
Nothing.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Absolutely.
What are you playing?
Nothing. I think I'm just listening to you, baby.
Oh really? Okay. And do you agree?
Of course. Much easier.
Excellent, thank you for that. Right. With that, I'm just going to mooch along in the traffic and wait till we get home. I've literally been driving less than 5 minutes and you're already grumbling about my driving. What am I meant to do? I can't go any faster, look. There's traffic in both lanes. We're trying to get past this Focus up front. What am I meant to do? Look at it. I can't go faster than that. Anyway, what do you think of the Countryman? Put it in the comments below. But I know this was a slightly different spin on a video. It's been our Christmas break. I wasn't actually going to turn the cameras on at all over Christmas, was I?
No, that was the plan.
Yeah, and
that's what we'd agreed, actually.
I know, I think we did agree. And then I thought, well, I need to kind of, you know, the plan was this car's going back next week, although I might well have wingled an extra month for some very good reason, but we'll see. But if it goes back, then it probably won't be long before it's replaced with another Countryman. We just need to go and buy one.
We'll see.
We'll see. Anyway, if you enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. I'm going to pull over up here and let Tracy drive again, because clearly my driving isn't up to your kind of standards, is it?
So painful.
So painful. Anyway, guys, you take care. Drive safe. Say goodbye.